right, Patricia, thank you for inviting me into your home. Uh, Everybody gets the same three questions, as you're aware, because you've done your homework, we've already discussed. So, if someone sees you walking down Essex Street, how do they recognize you? How do they know who Patricia is?
Well, that's an interesting question because I think it depends on where I am in my professional life because the way they see me, the questions they ask me, etc. I taught at Salem State for many years. I was the head of the theater department, but I became the founding director of the Center for Creative and Performing Arts,
Mm,
which was arts, creative writing, dance, music, and theater
mhm.
in the 90s. So I really had to go outside and become involved in the community if I wanted to get butts in the seats. So in 1992, I became a member of the Tercentenary Committee commemorating the 300th anniversary of the witch trials.
Okay.
I also became the director, or the chair really, of the Office of Cultural Affairs and Tourism for the city of Salem, which you know now is Destination Salem.
Okay.
And I had a TV program for 10 years. So I would be walking down the city pedestrian mall, let's say, and somebody would say, "Oh, I love that outfit you wore last week." And it was so disconcerting to have somebody say that. And then I realized that this woman saw me on television and couldn't believe that I really was in real life, you
Oh,
know?
funny, yeah,
So I'd
yeah.
have funny situations like that. When I retired from Salem State, I retired for 18 months and I became the executive director of the Salem Partnership, which is a nonprofit of membership organization that works on major issues in Salem.
Huh.
Uh, well, I was there for 11 years. I plan to go for two. I got very much involved with the city, obviously, the city and the state,
Mm,
but the partnership played a role in building a new courthouse in Salem,
yep.
the MBTA garage,
Mm,
bringing the ferry back to Salem, the creative economy. Finally, convinced people that artists, etc., were effective in affecting economic development. Now, that was an interesting experience because I'd walk down the pedestrian mall and somebody would say, "Oh, wow, you're doing a great job." And the next person would say, "I'd like to talk to you
oh,
about that. I
yeah,
really think that you should be doing this or that." So sometimes you wondered about walking down the pedestrian
sure.
mall, okay? Um, so in 2014, I retired again. And in 2015, I became the co chair with Dominic Pangalo of Salem for All Ages, which was started by the World Health Organization. And they listed the seven or eight really important things that were important for people as they age.
Mm,
Logical things like housing and health,
yeah.
but also social participation, etc. Ran a lot of things at the Council on Aging, and so a whole different kind of age group
Yeah.
got to know me well. And again, it was, "I think you should be doing this," or
Uh-huh.
"I think you should be doing that," which was fine. It was always usually very amicable. And because we ran speaker series and we brought back the Salem, we not brought back, we created the Salem Skipper.
Mhm.
But this is the interesting thing about life, how it really can teach you things and really humble you in many ways. Because a month ago, I walked into the Hotel Hawthorne. Now, I've been retired, finally retired, for about 2 years,
For real this time.
for real. And so this man said, "Oh, I know you." And I thought, now people don't say that too often anymore.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, wow. I said, "Oh, how do you know me?" And he said, "You're the lady that walks in the common."
Oh, that's
So,
so
Chris,
funny.
now I'm the old lady who walks in
Walks
the
in the
common.
common. Oh, that's so funny. So the one of the other questions that I ask is, what are you doing to make the city of Salem better? I want to come back to that in a minute because
Okay.
it sounds like you've done your part, but we'll come back to that in a second. How what is the transition like from working at Salem State, working in the arts specifically? How does that inform the work that you did for the city? Because that seems like, in my head, logic would state, that's a pretty big jump from being an artist to working in a city administration.
It was a huge jump.
Yeah.
Okay. and mainly because at Salem State, I had been there for a long time, etc. And everybody left me alone to do whatever I wanted, which was really
Mm, it's
terrific,
nice.
you
Yeah.
know. And the best thing that I ever did at Salem State, I should tell you, is uh, the people I hired. I always got a lot of credit for uh, the wonderful arts program at the college, but
Mm,
really, that was my strength in hiring people, and my strength was basically in communication.
yeah.
But your question is very valid because when I decided, first of all, the partnership job was going to be part time. Secondly, my husband had passed away and I was not going back to the college in
Yeah.
September. So I took the job, and I'm saying this publicly, probably for the first time. I didn't really know what economic development was, okay? I don't know, I guess you developed economy or something.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, I'll learn. And I did.
Sure.
I did.
Sure.
And fortunately, we had a mayor like Kim Driscoll. We had fabulous people in the state like Fred Berry, John Keenan, Joan Lovely. So they were all very helpful. And
Nice.
I thought, oh, I get it. We just have to convince people that they need this. And so we would
Ah,
run public meetings and this and that. So, when you get into communication, it's really not that different.
sure.
You're really
It's
trying to
managing
accomplish the same
people.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
managing people and
Yep.
the people who want to say nice things, you take that in. The people who don't want to say nice things, you also take that in. And,
And you're polite.
yeah.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about Salem State 30, 40 years ago. What was the college like when you got there?
There were 500 students,
Good grief.
and there were only such things as day. Actually, that's not true. I went there in 1965, and they were opening the two dorms, the Bowditch and Peabody.
Okay.
So this was a new move, really. And it was a big change also because only 2 or 3 years before, it was the Salem Normal School,
Right.
and the whole thing was education.
Mhm.
And now, for the first time, it was called Salem State College. Although my mother, God bless her, always told people I taught at the normal school.
Mm.
So there were those kinds of changes.
Yeah.
And believe me when I say that first September, when there was a faculty meeting, women were not. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there might have been 10 women there, but
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had 2 or 3 administrators. Life was very different then.
Sure. Sure.
Yes.
So let's talk about Salem State now. Do you have any relationship with the school? Do you still have folks there that you know?
Well, the last person I hired retired last June after 40 years.
Yeah.
I retired in 2002, but I stayed on the foundation board and helped in any way I could because when I went to Salem State in 1965, I couldn't believe it. I walked in and I said, "This is a high school auditorium.
Hmm.
How can you run a theater program in a place like this?"
So, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. When you got there in 65, you were there as to work, not as a student,
Oh,
right?
no, I didn't go to Salem State. No,
Yeah.
I was there in 65. Thank you for thinking that I was a student. No, in 65, I went there as an assistant professor.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the theater department didn't have a major then, okay?
Yeah.
But we were talking about it, but they also taught speech, public speaking, and things like that,
Okay.
okay? So anyway, I thought, oh, well, we've got to work to get an auditorium. Well, I have to tell you that it was exactly 50 years later that we got that auditorium,
Good grief.
okay?
Yeah.
It was 2015.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I was on the foundation and helped, and got a lot of help, particularly from Salem State's advancement office. And we raised the money, and we got the major donor, the Gordons, of course. And we were able to finally get not an auditorium, but a true theater.
An actual theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that 50 years. That is a long term. I thought this was a long term project. That's a long term project.
That's a long-term project. Yeah.
Do you think that the city utilizes Salem State as much as it should, and vice versa? Do you think that Salem State is as integrated into the city as it should or could be?
I think you could always improve,
Yeah.
okay? The city really does appreciate the university.
Yeah.
I mean, the 3 biggest employees are, of course, the hospital, the the, uh, the college, and the PBS Museum,
Sure.
all nonprofit, so there's an issue. But anyway, and the college, of course, with John Keenan and with Nancy Harrington, presidents who were, brought up in Salem. It always was very close, etc.
Yeah.
But obviously, it could be more and it could be better. Um, I think the issue of the dorms, the students tend to now come up to the town more than they did when they were day hops, and lived in maybe Revere or
Yeah.
places of that nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
But can I tell you a little bit about the theater department at Salem State?
Sure. Go for it.
Because it's quite an interesting thing to me. There is in the nation a student theater conference, okay? American College Theater Festival. It's held at the Kennedy Center, but it starts in regions. So there's a New England Theater Conference, which
Gotcha.
includes New York. But anyway, so students would compete there in New York, and they'd compete in California and Mississippi, and then the finalists go to the Kennedy Center.
Okay.
So we are talking about college students in the nation. And I want you to know that 3 times Salem has been picked the top college actor in the country.
Wow.
Twice they have been picked the best student director in the country, and I could go on and on. And the reason I bring that up is that think about it. Think of the prestigious theater departments
Sure.
all over, okay?
Yeah.
And we really have a fabulous reputation, and I'm happy to say that it's continued since I left. So it wasn't just under my leadership, but it's still continuing. But that's one thing that bothers me.
Mm.
The people in Salem don't appreciate that.
Huh.
We get good audiences, but when I think of the fact that sometimes I go to the theater all the time, as you can well imagine, and I'll see something in Boston, and I'll say, well, that was good. But what I saw last week at Salem State was better.
Isn't that
And
funny?
you might say, oh, you're prejudiced, and you're absolutely right. But I'm also a professional and would have
You know
seen
what you're looking at. Yeah.
yeah, and I've seen some things at Salem State. I'm like, oh my God. But but really, that's one thing, and I bring it up because you mentioned the relationship with the
Yeah.
town. I really hope and wish that this town learns to go up Lafayette Street and see some great theater.
And at the same, because I live literally half a mile from from that theater, and other than driving past it and seeing the marquee, I don't know what's playing there.
You wouldn't
So
believe the famous people we've had there as speakers, not just the speaker series, but I'm talking about magnificent, well-known artists
yeah,
and
yeah,
writers, dancers. It's an amazing the program.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there could be better two-way communication. Full stop. I mean, between both parties, it's yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Yep.
people of Salem get out and support the SSU theater program because it took them 50 years to build that auditorium, so we might as well use it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. How long have you lived in Salem?
I was born in Salem.
Yeah,
I was born in Salem Hospital,
yeah,
and I grew up in Salem, and I went away to college, and I said I was never coming back.
of course.
And of course, I got the opportunity because Salem was still pretty, parochial at that time, and and everybody knew everybody. And I was offered a teaching job there, and I thought I'll go for 2 years, and then I'll just move on to a bigger and better college.
Yeah.
And a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. I fell in love with the students. Fabulous, fabulous students. First generation ever going to college, probably working all night someplace and coming to my 8 o'clock class in the morning,
Yeah.
And so I lasted 37 years.
Wow. So you spent maybe 4 years going to college and then came back. So 4 years out of however many years you've been alive,
Oh,
is the only time you've spent out of Salem, basically.
well, no. Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
I went not only to undergraduate, but to graduate school.
Nice.
And my husband and I did live in Reading for many years.
Yeah.
But the
Close,
deal,
close enough.
but I was here in Salem every day. That's
Sure.
true.
Yeah.
And the deal was that the day he retired, we were moving to Salem, and
Oh, funny.
he fulfilled that promise.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So it sounds like you've, spent more than half of your life serving this community. But what is it that you're doing now in your third retirement that you're doing to make Salem a better place?
Well, I'm having an interview with you, so
Thank
that
you.
will be a part of the 400th. But I just finished a project with the House of Seven Gables, which is a special love of mine.
Yeah.
I actually, if you can believe this, because I can't believe it, taught drama at the Settlement House when I was 16 years old.
No kidding.
The
That's so
nerve of me, I
cool.
wouldn't think of it today. But anyway, I also love the garden down there.
Mm,
And I just worked with Robert Cantor, who is the fabulous gardener. And we put together a brochure on the history of the garden since 1960 to now, because Dan Foley, who was a fabulous landscape architect and a Salem resident, came and more or less saved the garden and made it to what it is today. And I wanted to get that history down, so I just finished
yeah.
that project.
Yeah. I know this is a totally Pat question, not Patricia, but Pat. Um, and I grew up in the South, so I know that it's improper to ask a lady her age. Uh, but at the same time, your vitality at your age is
I don't mind telling my age at all. Yesterday, no, is today Tuesday? Yes.
yeah.
Sunday, I was 86 years old. I feel blessed at the life that I've had here.
Do you what to your mind contributes to your ability to be the lady that walks on the common and work at this House of Seven Gables and keep going at 86 years old? What is
Well,
it to you that's
I'm
kept you
blessed
going?
by God, for one thing, but, it's just what everybody doesn't like to hear. It's that you have to eat healthy
Mm.
and you have to walk. Let me tell you,
Mm.
if your knee hurts, to hell with it. Get out on that common and walk, because
Yeah.
you'll walk it off.
Yeah.
And our tendency is, as we get older, think, well, maybe I better sit down, or maybe I better.
Mm.
And I have the same tendencies, and I work against those tendencies all day, every day, because you got to keep moving.
Don't call her Pat, ladies and gentlemen. Her name is Patricia. I've learned that the hard way. And I do appreciate you taking time to speak to me. It's a real
It was a
pleasure.
pleasure.
Thank you.